Well, it's chilly outside. We don't need a news flash there, but we do have a gentleman in the studio who's here to help people stay warm through the weather. We have Joe Terick from Propane Central here. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. All right, so it's kind of your peak season, right?
Right.
It's a little chilly out there. So tell us a little bit about Propane Central.
Propane Central began in Salina with the Payne family, Payne Oil Company, and they consolidated and acquired a number of other propane companies, including CCO's, Capital City Oil's retail propane division, as well as Global Propane here in Topeka, and then emerged Propane Central. So we're locally managed. We have a nice little infrastructure in Kansas so everybody can help each other. But we're also part of a larger propane organization, NGL Energy Partners. So we have the support from a national side, but we're locally managed and locally operated. So a lot of these guys have been with us for 30 years, just different names.
Okay, now we used to live out in the country, but we had everything was all electric. So what's the benefits of people using propane? Enlighten me, I have no idea.
So if anybody says I'm all electric, I don't need propane, I said, okay, next time you have an ice storm, you need a generator, get a propane generator, because you have a packaged fuel that can be delivered anywhere. So you can essentially live off the grid and have instant heat, instant electricity. If you got a generator, you can even run refrigerators off of propane. But essentially, it's a packaged fuel that can be transported anywhere.
Is there a traditional type of user, more rural users?
Primarily, it's going to be your rural, household that's going to run a furnace and your hot water tank and maybe your cook stove. So along with that, you're looking at a forklift, commercial use. I just talked to a roofing company in, I believe it was Lecompton today, and they have 100-pounders for their tar kettles and they have 33-pounders for their forklifts, and they run the gamut. They need it for a lot of things that they do.
Well, it's quite interesting. So how does it go? Let's say we wanted to convert over. We had all electric, and we want to put this in. What happens there?
If you're just going to put a generator in, that way you have instant electricity. If the electricity goes out, it's really simple. Get your generator, and then we just run a line, set a tank, run a line, hook it up, make sure everything's operating properly, and then you're kind of in the grid. If you want to be a little bit more thorough, you can exchange your electric furnace for a propane furnace, or I just talked to a gentleman today who wants to change his electric cook stove to propane, and in that, we're going to run a piece of black pipe just out of his house, hook up a tank, and he's going to have gas on his fancy new propane stove. And the propane marketers of Kansas have done a great job to offer rebates for all new appliances if somebody's switching over. And the gentleman I just came from, we're going to be able to give him a couple $100s for just putting a new hot water furnace. Took an old propane out, put a new propane one in, and the guys at the Propane Marketers Association here, they're really great about helping you out to do that.
Wow, so it's more efficient. There are credits for this. I had no idea.
There's credits. A long time ago, natural gas said that we were infringing upon their territory, and they passed a law that said we can't market anymore for the benefits of propane, only safety. But in doing so, they developed this rebate program. So, for every small fraction of a cent of gallon of propane that's sold, goes into this account, and so we're able to give this back to customers who maintain new appliances in their house.
And what's the cost comparison there?
Just from this gentleman I looked at today, he put a $400 hot water tank in, and we're going to give him a $200 credit to his account. Actually, it's going to be a check sent directly to him, so he's going to pay for half of his hot water heater.
Well, you can't go wrong with that,
No,
right?
you can't.
That's pretty cool stuff. Okay, so I've actually met you because Rob from TV25 had said, you got to talk to this guy because he knows I've got a lot of propane tanks and trying to keep the towers and everything so that they have power consistently. Propane generators, what they used.
Right.
And you were able to enlighten him about a few things that he had no idea about, and he has a lot of propane tanks.
Sure.
So tell us, so what do people who have a lot of propane tanks, what are some things that they may not even know about?
You know, there are date codes on certain things, your relief valves, your regulators, and you, at the best, you know, at most you want to try to make sure everything's up to date and up to code. Older tanks may not be up to code as they should be, so you know there's data plates, and some people have tanks that don't even have data plates, and we can't service that at all. So you know, our company will pay you to take your tank off, we'll recycle it, and we'll put a nice new refurbished tank in, you know, with new regulators. And you know, our reputation's on the line, and my reputation's on the line. I want to make sure everything's safe, up to code, and just everything's working out as well as possible.
Very good. Well, that's a lot. It sounds like you have an interesting job where you get to get out and see a lot of people.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and so especially when it's cold like this outside, this is your peak season, really, right?
It is. I went this morning to set up one new customer in Mayetta, and by the end of the day, I'd stopped at 3 houses and set up 3 new customers that have just been calling in, and so. It's our peak season. You know, we're ready to rock and roll, and you know, we're prepared for it, and we just want to make sure everybody stays warm and you know, safe.
What a great way to learn about something new. If you don't know about it, I mean, that's not something I would know. So it's been very interesting to talk to you about this. And folks who would like to find out more information, Propane Central has a Facebook page. You can check that out. I believe it's Propane Central-Topeka.
I believe so, yeah.
So you find that, you can find out more information. You can also contact Joe. He's got his information there. Give him a call. Check out the website, and you'll find all the information you need about propane. He'd be happy to get you going. Thank you so much. Joe Terick from Propane Central.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet.